welcome back aboard the Polite Ship, everyone, and today I'm going to be changing things up a little bit. So, as you probably know if you watch my recent videos, I went on a trip to Disneyland a couple weeks ago. And as someone who lives in New Jersey, we don't really go to Disneyland that often. Instead, we typically go to Disney World every year. Disneyland has a lot to be jealous of when it comes to Disney World. One of the big things is space and the size. That's why Disney World has 4 parks and Disneyland only has 2. But there's also a lot that we as Disney World people have to be jealous of. Because there are a lot of rides that Disneyland just does way better than Disney World. And that's what I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to be putting rides up against each other that are either the same or just similar. And I'm going to be putting them to the test to see which one's better in which park. Before I begin, I just want to say that I won't be ranking a ride if it's literally the exact same. So any of the rides in Galaxy's Edge, which are the exact same in both parks, I won't be counting them because, well, they're pretty much exactly the same. There's nothing really different about them. But since that's all, and so I present to you guys the rides list. This is a list I made of all the rides that are in both parks, Disneyland and Disney World somewhere, or just similar in some way, like Expedition Everest. I can't begin to compare that to the Matterhorn bobsleds, but because they're both mountains that have a Yeti, that's why I'm comparing them. And they're both a roller coaster, so. But I guess we can begin with Big Thunder. Now, Disneyland's Big Thunder has always been way better than Disney World's. And the 2 things that really made Disneyland's better, besides it being smoother than Disney World's, was the effects on the final lift hill, which are so much better than the broken track thing that Disney World did. And, of course, my friend and yours, the Dynamite Goat. Now, currently, at the time of recording this, Disney World's Big Thunder is closed for a massive refurbishment, which is going to be a retracking that's supposed to make it a lot smoother. And they're also possibly going to add, I've heard, that they're possibly going to add the effects to the final lift hill, just like Disneyland. So that might help it a little bit, but still, like Dynamite Goat. Come on, man. And so Disneyland's Big Thunder is better. Next is Haunted Mansion. Now, Disney World's Haunted Mansion has always been better. The amount of extra scenes they have at the beginning. In Disneyland, some of those scenes are just in the queue. Like, Disneyland doesn't have the library. The portraits are in the queue. And Disneyland also doesn't have, the guy playing the piano and then, the stairway with the footsteps. Disneyland just starts off with the hallway scene. Especially now that Disney World has the Hatbox Goes too, I feel like Disney World definitely outdoes Disneyland. So Disney World's Haunted Mansion wins. Next up is Tower of Terror versus Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout. Now, this was a tough decision to make because I love the original Tower of Terror. And I love the Fifth Dimension scene, which is something that Disneyland's never had, even when it was Tower of Terror. But I also love Guardians of the Galaxy, just in general. Cosmic Rewind and Mission Breakout are both such good rides. The music and the randomization of it is also pretty cool. And it just starts, if you can start off the day with Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, it's just such a good way to start the day like we did. So while I grew up with Tower of Terror, I'm going to have to give this one to Guardians just because I just love the energy. So California Adventure wins that one. Next is It's a Small World. Not even mentioning the facade, just the use of the Disney characters even in Disneyland's It's a Small World and the Small World holiday overlay, which by the way, Disney, please bring better holiday overlays to Disney World. Because they got Haunted Mansion holiday, they got Small World holiday over there. Why don't we get the good stuff? So yeah, like I said, Small World, way better in Disneyland. And another ride that's way better in Disneyland, Space Mountain, has so many more scenes at the beginning. Before you get into the roller coaster part of it, there's just there's 3 lift hills, which Disney World only has 1, including the launch segment, which Disney World does have. But Space Mountain is also a lot more rough in Disney World, whereas in Disneyland, it's very smooth. Disney World is the Matterhorn. Disney World Space Mountain is the Matterhorn of Disney World, whereas Disneyland Space Mountain is just so smooth. The music is way clearer in Disneyland too because they have it pumped into the ride vehicle, unlike Disney World where you just go by the speakers. And the star effect looks way better in Disneyland too. So Disneyland Space Mountain wins. Staying in Tomorrowland, we're going to talk about Autopia versus Tomorrowland Speedway, and Autopia wins this one. If I'm being fully honest, both of these rides suck. But the thing that makes Autopia better is that it just has so much more to look at than Tomorrowland Speedway. Like, Tomorrowland Speedway is just ugly when you're on the ride and when you're off the ride. At least Autopia is more hidden when you're off the ride, and there's a lot more to look at when you're on the ride. I also feel like since Autopia isn't really in the way of the rest of the land, you can't really smell it as much as you do Tomorrowland Speedway, so that makes the smell a lot less difficult to deal with. So yeah, Autopia is better. Moving on to Jungle Cruise, which is made way better in Magic Kingdom by just one thing: the indoor portion. While I love the Disneyland version just because it's classic and it's iconic, I feel like the Magic Kingdom version, the indoor portion just makes it so much better. So Jungle Cruise is better in Magic Kingdom. Moving on to my favorite ride, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. Which automatically, the queue in Disneyland is way better than the queue in Disney World. But what makes this one so much better in Disneyland for me are all those little scenes that they just kind of threw in there. They're not really anything big, but they're just like small little things that they kind of threw in to make Disneyland's version just slightly more unique. I also feel like it's a little bit more jerky in Disneyland, but I kind of feel like that makes it better because it adds to, like, the experience. It makes you feel, like, cartoony. I don't know. So, yeah, Mickey and Minnie's is better in Disneyland. Now, the next one is just obvious right off the bat. Now, I know what you're going to say. Test Track got refurbished, so it's probably better than it was before, right? Well, to you, I say, no matter what they do to Test Track, there will never be a ride like Radiator Springs Racers. There is just no other Disney ride, or any ride for that matter, that can compare to Radiator Springs Racers. There's a reason why it's always the longest line in California Adventure. Even with the new Test Track, we watched a POV of it, and I don't think you really even need to be there in person just to tell that Radiator Springs Racers is obviously just still so much better than Test Track in so many different ways. And that's why Radiator Springs Racers is the better of the two attractions. Now, we've still got a big list to cover, so I'm thinking we're going to split this video up into a couple different parts. So this will be the first part, and then we'll continue on with Dinosaur versus Indiana Jones in the next video. So thanks for watching. Don't get seasick. Bye.